Hey guys, this is Ranchin here, bringing us of commentary. This is going to be the first set between Light and RorO in the round of 16 of the Bigfile MSL. Playing on Polaris Rhapsody at the upper left-hand position as the brown Terran. We're going to have Light at the bottom right-hand position as the purple Zerg. We're going to have RorO. And Polaris Rhapsody, very interesting map. With Terran and Zerg playing, you don't really see that big of a differential in wins in games. But overall, this map seems to favor Protoss more than the other two races. But Terrans have been getting a few more wins on this, so we're going to see. But I just don't think that the games have been played to a number that you can really call bias at the same time, really. It's kind of hard that way. Although Zergs might have a bit of a hard time getting a third guess, so that can always become a factor. Terrans can stay on those two bases for a significantly longer amount of time, while the Zerg player has to stretch, in RorO's case, is to stretch all the way to the lower left-hand position of the map, which Terran in the late mid-game can already have somewhat easy access to. Drops can be deadly on that. Or a Zerg has to go all the way to the 3 o'clock base, which is kind of boxed in and has a very small entrance, which he can defend very well once he has defilers from non-air forces. When he can burrow some Zerglings there, just constantly spam Dark Swarm on top of those. That really deny Terran players entrance until they can get a massive presence outside there. So, but overall, Zerg players can become significantly weak to drops, so that's going to be the case for Zerg to make sure that Light cannot get any decent drop shares out there. Light is a player that's very good with drop ships. So we're going to be interesting to see what they go for here. Do see the bears come out, and apparently we're going to go for the 12 hatch. 2-player map, but still distances are significantly long, and Zerg player can feel somewhat safe going for 12 hatch. And Terrans, the amount of times that Terrans cheese against Zergs is not that often. Might go for a bunker bust at the front to try to take out that initial hatchery, but it is rather rare these days. And Light, definitely a player that wants to play standard, has a significant advantage against Zergs at about 65% win rate, quite higher than his other two matchups. And this is also RorO's best matchup, the only matchup that he has a win rate over 50% of, I believe at 51%, while the rest of it is just under 50, although he has kind of become WeMade's backup ace, if you will. Unfortunately, WeMade one of those teams that don't really have a clear race. They used to have a clear race way back when in mind, but he's not really fulfilling that role anymore. More of just one of their main a part of their main turn lines. They're hoping that Baby will be able to fulfill the role of ace in the future, but he's not really at the level yet. Of course, these two teams played against each other. When I say these two players, that is the players of these two teams, they played against the NBC versus WeMade series, and it has been a week ago, so I don't mind spoiling that right now. In that, of course, WeMade did end up going ahead and winning. Whoa, somebody from Washington coming in here. Nice. I didn't see that earlier. Didn't notice that earlier, but yeah, going to Korea. Hopefully I can manage to do that one day before Brood War shuts down, if it ever will. Hope that it never does. So we do see an inside hatchery coming in for RorO, so we are going to be seeing some Midos out there opposite side. Second barracks on the way. Probably refinery should already be up. Going to be okay. No, not quite up yet. Should be on the way right now, very soon, so we can start working on his academy tech. Just going to start off by trying to get some more forces out there as he puts down his expansion. So both players playing rather heavy econ right now. Lair coming out a little bit later than sometimes we see when Zerg decide to go for just 2 hatcheries with 2 bases. Then you get those Mutos out there just a little bit sooner, but the Mutos tend to go out there in slightly smaller numbers. Finally, some Zerglings out there to force that SCV away from Light. Do see the refinery just now coming up. He's going to have a few Marine forces out there to wait, and then when he gets his medics out there, he might go across the map, try to pressure, but I think it's a lot more dangerous to go for pressure against Zerg on this map than on some other, for instance, 4-player maps, because the distances are long, and there are a lot of positions across where you can get caught by Zerg. Maybe not on the bridges, but where you can kind of close yourself off so Zerg can't get us around. But in open spaces, a Zerg player, if he has enough Zerglings, he can really box you in and pick off quite a few of your medic Marines. And as we saw in the set between Effort and Midas, that can really become a weakness. If you lose some of your initial Marines, that really becomes a problem in the early game. In the early mid-game especially, that just allows the Zerg player to put a lot of pressure on you, do a lot of damage early on. But Light seems to be playing significantly safe, just getting his academy going. We are probably going to be seeing him setting up defensive positions, going for the E-base, setting up some turrets. Phone ringing in the background, but I'm ignoring you. Spire just now coming up as well, so RorO's playing fairly safe. Just going to go for those Mutalisks. Probably going to be able to pop about 7 at the same time. Oh, Light getting one of his SCVs caught by Zerglings there, unfortunately. But he's still going to be overall, you know, got the scout in, has the Marine forces out, should have medics popping out any second, should have the eBay on the way. Comp station's coming up, so he's going to be able to get a scout on that. Just make sure that RorO's going for exactly what he thinks he's going. Fuzerk is actually running in here, going to be able to almost close in on that. I see a lot of Marines out there for Lights. No medics yet, but RorO's actually pushing out quite a few Zerglings, hoping to maybe force those Marines out of that base into the open where he can get a surround off and pick some of those Marines off, especially since they don't yet have medic support and don't see any stim on them either, so he can be significantly open. He's actually pushing out, gonna go for a surround here. RorO gonna try to get there. There are medics in the area, but some of these Marines gonna go down. Still though, nice job there from fighting back as one very weak Marine there at the front. And it's actually already pushing out, is going to push out across the map, forcing RorO to probably put down a couple of creep colonies. Spire almost ready. Still don't see any turrets out there for Light. He really needs to get some defenses going. But RorO with a nice little pressure attack to start things off. Stim finally hitting for Lights. He's going to run right across the map. Has to be very careful not to get them out there piecemeal. Going to hope to catch RorO off guard while there's still no Mutalisks out there. Going to come here across the bridge. 2 creep colonies going to come down. There are going to be 2 second colonies to defend. A few Marines, unfortunately, fighting some Zergs across the bridge. Not quite with a lot of maneuverability. No forces from the back. A couple of Firebats coming in here. Very early Firebats here from Light, hoping to counteract that Zergling threat, but at the very least forces down those 2 second colonies. Not going to manage to do anything with that. Scanning on top of that. That's going to force him to back off. But he's already lost quite a few forces. Only has a few Marines in there. Still has a few Marines just running on very close to his base. Piecemeal has lost a lot of forces early on. Just now getting his weapons 1 upgrades going. Still don't see any turrets out there for him. Really needs to start working on those because the Mutalisks are already out there. Needs some of those turrets inside of his natural. Needs some of those turrets inside of his main, close to his production buildings. Do see those turrets finally coming up, but we do see Light actually being forced to stim some of his Marines just to try to get him back home. They're going to be forced to engage Mutalisks out in the open with almost no support. This is going to be bad. Light going to survive for a little while, but these Marines eventually are going to go down with those Mutalist attacks. And Light not going to have a ball of medic Marines to help him support. At the very least, he's going to force those delay on those Mutalisks, but just making those medics kind of heal those Marines. But still, only very few Marine forces out there. These guys to trust his turrets. Has 3 turrets as natural expansion on the right side. But if Mutalisks coming from the left side, he might be in a little bit of trouble. Meanwhile, RorO knows he's in the open, knows in a good position, going to be able to expand to the 3 o'clock position. And he's going to stay very good. Unfortunately, has 1 idle drone in there. But he's going to be able to pick up that 3rd base. This is, of course, the advantage that Zerg have. If he can get map control, and if he can kind of pressure the turn player inside of his own base, he's going to be able to safely pick off either the lower left hand or the 3 o'clock base.